Alright guys, so in this one I'm going to give you some tips that will help you if you're struggling to grow your back. So I just made an Instagram post just recently, and I think that I started off by saying if you're not getting back pumps in the gym, you're doing something wrong. It's kind of like a bit of a meme actually, where it's like, oh, everything's easy to get a pump. Every muscle, it's getting pumps feels really good and it's really easy, except for back. Oh, I can never get back pumps. Like they say, I think Bro Science Life actually made a video or made a joke about that in one of his videos.
In fact, some have said that back is the legs of your upper body.
Where it's like, oh yeah, that's why no one likes training back, because you can't get a pump. And it's kind of funny, but it is true. It's a weird thing. I think it's due to a few things. So I think whether obviously a muscle group like your biceps, it's really small relative to something like your back. So it's a really small muscle group. So you can just do a few reps, and it's really easy to train isolation. All you just need to do is this with your arm, with some weight, and there you're training. You're doing bicep curls. That's an exercise. And it's really easy to get a pump. Same even with chest, because I think chest is still relatively small compared to something like your legs or your back. But then you'd say, well, hang on, but what about your muscle? Like, what about your legs? Your legs are comparable to the size of your back, but it's really easy. Like, you can get leg pumps really easily. But I think it's because when you're training anything lower body, it's like mainly going to be quad. Like any squatting movements that you're doing is going to be really heavily putting a lot of tension on your quads and your glutes. And even like Romanian deadlifts and things like this are going to put a lot of tension on your hamstring. So it's kind of easy to get like a leg pump, because it's easy. There are a lot of exercises that will strain those, or that'll put a lot of tension on those muscle groups. But with the back, any pulling movement you do, so that's what you're doing when you're training your back. Like things like you have the horizontal pulls like pull-ups, and then you have your vertical pulls like pull-ups, and horizontal pulls like rows, cable rows, dumbbell rows, anything like that. And those movements are kind of tricky because it is a compound movement. It's not just, you're not just pulling with your lats. Obviously, that's what you should be trying to focus. That is what you're trying to focus on. And the lats will be being used if you have something here. If you're doing like a cable row, have something here, and you're pulling it in. If you hold your lat, you'll feel your lat contracting. But obviously, you're going to be getting a lot of weight. You're going to be generating some tension through your biceps, as well. Maybe even your forearms if you're trying to grip. Because that's another thing that's annoying with back training. Sometimes the grip comes into play. And that brings me to the first reason why I think people don't get back pumps, is that if they're training, say, cable rows, the weight might be maybe too heavy, or people very often with cable rows use the momentum. So if I'll maybe put a video up where it's like you're rowing, you're pulling, and you're like moving back as you're pulling it and using the momentum, and that means that you're probably using too much weight, and at that point the grip, so your actual hand, is probably going to give out before your back does. In fact, that's extremely likely because your back, like I said, is a very large muscle group, and your lats are extremely strong muscles compared to your hand, or compared to your muscles in your forearms. They're responsible for grip. So that's one reason. The second reason is probably because your biceps giving out. It's sort of the same thing. Your biceps are going to be a lot weaker than your back. And even though you're not getting a full contraction with your biceps, if you're rowing and you're going about here, you're still getting a decent amount of flexion in your elbow. So that is going to be fatiguing your bicep. And for most people, I know for me especially, my biceps will give out way before my back. I remember this was a huge problem for me when I was training pull-ups. I was trying to increase the number of pull-ups I could do. And I would notice every time I went to a set of failure on pull-ups, it was always burning in my elbow and here, even maybe my forearms, definitely, but never. I'd get down, I'd be like, my back, yeah, it feels fine. Or burning all through my biceps, all through my forearms, and nothing in the back. It can get frustrating because if you're doing pull-ups and rows, you're doing it for back. No one's going to be training rows for the biceps. Maybe you are, but if you want to get bigger biceps, you can just do curls. I'm not trying to say that the pump is the be-all and end-all, and that's like the only thing you should be caring about. And if you're not getting a pump, then it's like useless. Absolutely not saying that. Pump chasing can be kind of dangerous for separate reasons, but the pump is a good indication of stimulus. So if you're doing exercise like rows and you're not feeling it all in your back, and you're feeling a lot in your biceps, that's an indicator that it's going to be really stimulating for your arms, but it's not stimulating your back that much at all. So it can be an indicator. All right, so those are the reasons why you're probably not getting a back pump when you're training back, and how the nature of those movements can contribute to that. So, well, how do I fix this? How do I change what I'm doing in the gym? How do I change my training to get better, to induce better back growth? So what I did, and what really helped me, is I just looked back at the old school bro science bodybuilding knowledge, right? So for the back training, right? So pretend I'm doing cable rows, say. So you have at the start of the rep, all the way down, fully stretched out, shoulders forward, and then you pull with your lats. So you try and think about pulling with your elbows instead of pulling with your hands. You pull with your elbows down, pull the lats through. You get to the top, pause, pull the shoulder blades all the way back, pause, and then slow eccentric down, and then all the way back to full stretch. So it's fast, squeeze, pause, slow, and then really let it stretch forward. So kind of looks silly me just doing it there without any weight, just pretending, but that's really helped me. And every time I do that, if I just get the cable row and I just row and I just do the reps, or just like I'm benching, just go through the reps, I can get up and literally not feel anything in my back at all. Even I can feel like a contraction through the rep. I might get up, have, like I said, feel it in my elbows, feel my biceps, but not feeling my back at all. Right, but if I do it like that technique I just showed with pausing it, it's I can actually start after a couple sets. I can start to feel the blood flow through the back, which is really good. It's kind of bro science. It's kind of bro. It's definitely old school, definitely pretty basic, but it's really it's worked for me. And like I know I'm not really saying anything new here. I mean, like pretty sure like Arnold and people like that were saying that. But I mean, I don't see anyone doing it at the gym. I never see anyone training rows like I do with the form I use in my gym. Cable rows, dumbbell rows, pull-ups, anything like that. Lat pull-downs even. I never see anyone really doing it like that, and I've just started doing it. I noticed, I'm like, oh, hang on a minute. Yeah, maybe those old school bodybuilders from the 90s actually had a point. Maybe I should be doing that. Well, another thing, it's slightly unorthodox, I guess, but I've done it a bit. I've tried experimenting with it a bit in the gym, and I think it has maybe some merit. You could try it. I'm not sure. You might have some success with it. But it's basically, if you have a movement like, this will only really work if you can already do like 12 plus pull-ups or chin-ups. So if you're just like someone who's not really good at chin-ups and you can't really do that many reps, it might not be that good. But what I did was, I'd say maybe at the time I could have done, like if I just did as many pull-ups as possible, I could have done like 23, something like this. So what I did is, instead of doing my like 3 sets of 15 or whatever, which is what I'd normally be doing, I go and I do, and having like 3 minutes of rest in between each one of those sets, I go up to the bar and I do a set of 5, and I pause at the top. So I'd like I was the technique. So I'd 1, pause down, 2, pause, up to 5, and then I'd stop and I'd rest for maybe less than a minute, probably actually. So maybe about 45 seconds. Then go do the next set, up to the next one, and then I just keep doing that until either I do it for like 6 sets, or I just keep going until it got like almost to the point of failure, and then I'd stop. So I just do 5, okay, that was easy. Another 5, that was easy. Another set of 5, easy. Set after set, and then I get to set, okay, another 5, okay, that was kind of hard. Okay, another set of 5. Oh, the 5th one, oh, that was okay. I think I could maybe do one more, but probably not. So I think with that can be a good way to get a sort of a back pump, because you just have really good technique, really good form for those 5 reps, and then that's it, and then you just repeat that instead of doing the longest set where your form starts to degrade and get really terrible. That's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you try this in the comments below. Like the video, subscribe, share it. Thank you. See you in the next one.